Good morning, students. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Hatran Skill Center near Fountain Chowk, Yamunanagar. Our center code is 034. I'm Ankit Sharma. Students, we have started a new topic that is ethical hacking, which is a part of cyber security. So we were basically discussing about what are hackers, what is hacking techniques, how hacking is done. Now, our today's lecture will be on information gathering techniques. So, information gathering techniques. So, what are information gathering techniques? Gathering information is the first step where the hacker tries to get information about the targets. Hacker use different sources and tools to get more and more information, and some of them briefly explained here. So, these informations will be useful for us to become an ethical hacker. Ethical hacker. So, what is information gathering? So, information gathering is the act of gathering different kinds of information against the target victims or system. It is the first step or the beginning stage of ethical hacking where the penetration testers or the hackers, both black hat and white hat. I have discussed about the black hat hackers in my previous lecture. You can see there. Okay, and also discussed about the white hat hackers. So both the hackers perform this stage. This is a necessary stage of gathering that information and crucial steps to be performed. The more the information gathered about the target is, the more the probability of obtaining relevant results. So information gathering is not just a phase of security testing, it is an art that every penetration tester and hacker should get masters for better experience and penetration testings. There are various tools, techniques, and websites which are being used for these information gathering techniques, which includes public sources such as Voice, NS Lookup, and that can help hackers to gather information about the victim or the systems. This step is very necessary step because while performing attacks on any target, you may need any information such as his pet name, best friend names, his age or phone numbers to perform password guessing attacks or other kind of attacks. So information gathering is classified into three types: footprinting, and next comes is scanning and enumeration. These are the three kinds of information gathering techniques. Okay, so our first one is footprinting. Let me discuss about the first techniques. So information gathering can be classified into three major categories. The first one is printing, next comes is scanning, and third comes is enumeration. Okay, so we'll be discussing about the footprinting. So what is footprinting? What is footprinting? It is a technique to collect as much information as possible about the targeted networks, victims, or systems. It helps the hacker in various ways to intrude on an organization system. This technique also determines the security postures of the target. So footprinting can be an active as well as passive footprinting involves collection of data without the owner knowing that hackers gather his or her data. In contrast, active footprints are created when the personal data get released consciously and intentionally or by direct contact of the owner. So this is footprinting, in which we gather information about the victim or the user or the system. Okay. And what are the sub branches of footprinting? Sub branches of footprinting. So sub branches of footprinting will be, first one is open source. Open source footprinting. Next comes is network based footprinting. Next comes is DNS footprinting. I'm discussing about the open source footprinting. So what is open source footprinting? These are the sub branches. Other than the types of footprintings, there are some branches of footprinting which a learner should know before gathering information. So these three are the sub branches. The first one is open source footprinting. This type of footprinting is safest, holding all the legal limitations, and hackers can do it without any fear because it is not an illegal or coined the terms open source. Example of this type includes finding someone's email addresses, phone numbers, scanning IP through automated tools, search for his age, date of birth, house addresses, etc. Most companies provide information about their companies on their official website without realizing the fact that the hackers can get benefit from the information provided by them. This is called open source, in which any user, it is a legal process, not an illegal process. So hacker can gather this kind of information easily. Next comes is network based footprinting. So network based footprinting, using this category of footprinting activities can retrieve information such as username information within a group, data that can be shared among individuals and network services, etc. This is network based information. The last comes is sub branch of footprinting, DNS. DNS interrogation. Yes, it is DNS interrogation. Sorry. So DNS interrogation. After gathering the information needed from the different areas using various techniques, the hacker usually queries the DNS using pre-existing tools. Many freeware tools are available online to perform DNS interrogations. So what are the tools, tricks and techniques for gathering information? We'll be discussing about the tools today. Okay. So tools, comma, tricks and techniques for information gathering. So first one is tools. So what are the tools which are being used? The first one comes is voice. Voice is a re-owned internet record listing tool to identify who owns a domain or who registers for that particular domain along with their contact details. The Internet Corporation of Assigned Names and Numbers (ICANN) regulates domain registrations and ownership details on this. So voice records, WHOIS, it's voice records. Voice records have proven to be extraordinarily beneficial and have developed into an essential resource for maintaining the integrity of the domain name registrations and website ownership accesses. So voice is a tool which gathers the numbers and names of any user. Okay, the next comes is harvester. Harvester is also an information gathering tool where it helps to extract the email addresses and subdomain of a particular target. Harvester is being used for extracting that email addresses or subdomains of a particular target. Harvester is the coded using a simple Python script which searches information from giant search engines like Google, Yahoo, Bing, and much more. Next comes this MetaGoofil. MetaGoofil. MetaGoofil is also another information gathering or footprinting tool that is used to extract information or data which is publicly available on the internet belonging to that company. So this MetaGoofil is used publicly. Next comes is Natifera. 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 Natifera is a potent tool that can give a complete platform to gather information regarding the targeted website you want to attack. It is a free tool that comes inbuilt into Backtrack Linux operating system. This software will give information such as IP addresses of the user, the programming language used by the for that website development, and the number of websites hosted by the user. These are the tools which are being used for information gathering. Next comes is techniques which are being used. Techniques. Techniques used are the first one is OS identification. OS identification involves sending illegal transfer control protocol or ICMP internet control message protocol packets to the victim systems or identify the operating system by the victim on his server on the computer. This is called operating system identification. The next comes is a ping sweep is also a technique. Its name is basically ping sweep. A ping sweep is a technique of establishing a range of IP addresses that map hackers to live host, fpings, nmaps, zenmaps, ICMP, enumerations, superscans are some of the tools used to ping large number of IP addresses at a time to generate lists of hosts for that large subnets. So these I have discussed the tools voice, harvester, metagoofel and nitifera, and techniques are OS identification and ping sweep. In next lecture, we will be discussing about the tricks, objectives of footprints, and much more. So, thank you, students.